All right. This will be our last try, guys. If this works, great. If it doesn't, I don't know what to tell you. Something is fishy in the water today. All right, so let's get on to the stuff that we want to talk about during the After Schrock. So this Toy Story 2 thing is a pretty interesting story. So basically, Toy Story 2 is a computer-generated movie, right? So it's all rendered on a computer, like video. And let me scroll down here. So it was rendered mostly on Mac machines or Linux-based systems. And there was somebody cleaning up some directories, and they ran a Linux command that was to like remove all the files from these directories. And once the command is started with the force symbol, they can't really stop it. And after they started the command, they realized that they'd started to force delete all the files in the directory, and the movie itself that they had finished was also in that directory. So that was pretty crazy. So it's deleting all these files, and the guys are just sitting around watching it, and it's deleting files. And like, oh my god, it's deleting the files. So basically, when the story originally started making the rounds, one of the other big questions is how did this happen? They deleted the entire movie, and there happened to be one employee who was out on maternity leave. And they called her and said, hey, by any chance, do you happen to have a copy of the movie on your computer at home? And luckily she did. So literally all these people are like, oh my gosh, we just lost like Pixar's. A lot of pressure here. This is Toy Story 2. It was Toy Story. Now this is Toy Story 2. A lot of pressure. And boom, it's gone. So they get it back from the woman who had a copy at home. And they're like, oh, thank God. So they take the movie, the finished movie, to the executives at Disney, and they show the movie, and they hate it. They tell them to scrap the entire movie and start over from scratch. They removed characters. They did all kinds of stuff. So these people are like, I spent an entire year of my life animating this, and then now I just deleted it. Oh, God. Oh, we got it back. Yay. And they take it to the execs, and the execs are like, it's garbage. You may as well just delete it. And so the Toy Story 2 that you see now is not the same Toy Story 2 that was originally rendered. I'd like to see the original one. It would be cool if maybe she still had a backup on her home computer. But one of the things that this that this reiterates is, guys, make sure you check your backups. Make sure your backup is running. You can click on Start. You can go to Settings. You can go to the backup in the settings, and it'll tell you the date it last ran. The newer backups are a little harder. You can't just look at the files and look at the dates in the folders because of the way that the backups run now with file history backup. But you can check your computer to see when the date of your last backup was run. And if that's not like, now, you need to run one. Just make sure you run your backup and make sure you check them so that you don't get caught with your pants down in those situations, because that was definitely not a fun situation for a Toy Story 2 person. Oh, Aaron, yeah, the Ministry of Truth. I don't think it was that. I just, honestly, there's a lot going on. I have beta settings going on in my OBS studio right now. So the studio that puts the green screen and everything behind me is running on beta settings, trying to compensate for potential network issues. I did test the network after it crashed a second time, and we're having no upload problems. Like, I've got full speed. So I don't know what's going on, but yeah, the number of backups depends on the importance of the data. Isn't that the truth? So anyway, crypto roundup. So as you guys have noticed, the price of cryptos kind of popped last week, went up a little bit, and then now it's down again. And it's sliding into the weekend here, long weekend, which is a little unusual for crypto. It tends to drop on the weekends if it's going to drop, and pop on Monday. Excuse me. But we have a long weekend this weekend with President's Day in the United States. But that's the thing about crypto is, it's not necessarily just a United States thing. It's not like the stock market where it's closed and you don't have to worry about it. But Bitcoin is down to 38,000 as of right now. Ethereum is down to 2,600. So that is a significant drop from where it was at 42,000 earlier in the week and 3,100 for Ethereum. So long story short, last week we said, what should you do? And I suggested that when it pops, when it runs up, that you sell off some of your coin on a run up, and when it drops, that you buy. So if you're following that advice, you should have sold around 42, 41, 40, somewhere in there. I did. I sold, I think, $4,000 worth of Bitcoin right around 41,000. And so if it gets much lower, I'm going to buy it back in again and then ride it back up when it comes time. But this could mean, it's going to be interesting because Bitcoin, there was a lot of talk during the stock market turmoil that Bitcoin had become the digital gold, the digital safe haven, right? Well, this week we saw gold pop to $1,900 an ounce, while Bitcoin is sliding. It's pretty clear it's not the digital safe. Oh, I got a bad case of yawns, guys. I'm sorry. It's not the digital safe haven that everybody thought it was. Let me get some coffee here. So, or that people were saying it was. It's not some new type of digital gold or anything. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. Bitcoin be Bitcoining. Bitcoin's going to go up 50%. It's going to go down 50%. The president of El Salvador is going to buy more Bitcoin. Other countries are going to legalize Bitcoin. The Ukraine actually legalized Bitcoin, legalized it. But and this is the thing that somebody mentioned earlier. Oh yeah, the new Buzz movie. Sorry, I was reading comments over here. The thing that that's crazy about it is that you can't stop cryptocurrency. So somebody in the comments in the last attempt to have an After Schrock said that they want to have a crypto czar to oversee cryptocurrency. This is the thing. Let's say we want, do you know that Congress actually tried to change the time the sun comes up? It's called daylight savings time. Congress passed laws, the sun shall not come up before thy time, or go down before this time. Literally, Congress is trying to regulate the sun. The sun comes up. The sun goes down. Well, actually, the sun doesn't go up and down, the earth rotates, but we won't go into the details. We all understand that, right? But to our perception, the sun comes up, the sun goes down, whatever. Congress can't do jack about it. It's going to go up, it's going to go down. You can fight a war, you can launch nukes, you can do whatever you want to do. And the sun is going to come up, and the sun is going to go down. And Bitcoin is the exact same thing. You can't outlaw it. You can't stop it. As long as there is one node running anywhere in the world, Bitcoin is still Bitcoin. And there's a lot of nodes running, like lots of nodes running. It's in people's I run a node. It's in my financial interest to run a node. Does it cost me to run a node? A little bit. I spend a few bucks on my internet connection for it. But I have a significant crypto investment that it's in my best interest to make sure there are lots of nodes running, so I'm going to run a node. So I run a node. It's not a big deal. It's a program that runs on my computer. It's not like I'm sacrificing like a Mother Teresa or something. It's not, it's not hard. You just run a program. But the thing about it is, cryptocurrency is Wild West, unstable right now. It's like 12 years old, 13 years old. I mean, it's how stable was the U.S. dollar 13 years into its existence? Were people still thinking it was going to go the way of the Continental? Give it some time. But now is the time to be invested in it. And one of the ways that I try to generate revenue in times like this, because if you're buy and hold, which I am, I don't trade. I don't trade my core Bitcoin holdings and things like that because I always lose. I always lose eventually. I get emotional about it. There's a better opportunity that comes up. I'll make way more money over there. Golly. Oh, my. Bad case of the yawn. Sorry. And so I sell at a loss, then I jump over here, and then I said, there's something over here, and I sell that at a loss. I got no patience, okay? So the core stuff stays where it's at. And I talked about this a while back called liquidity mining, where basically I am providing cryptocurrency to the exchange gate.io, and in exchange for that I get a piece of the fees of every trade. And there was a particular coin, for those 5 or 6 of you who are doing liquidity mining, there was a particular coin called Floki coin that made us all a ton of money if you were doing liquidity mining with it. Well, Floki coin is kind of quieted down. You might make $20 a day on it, which isn't really floating anybody's boat. But the new Floki coin, the one that's really doing some crazy wild stuff right now, is called Peri, P-E-R-I, P-E-R-I, Peri coin. It's a DeFi token, promises all the same stuff that all the other DeFi tokens promise, but the Peri coin is turning incredible returns. So just, I mean, since I started the After Schrock, I've made $6.39 on Peri coin. And I'm not selling it and buying it. I'm not trading it. I'm literally just buying it and holding it. And I'm collecting fees when other people are trading it. So, and right now, let me take a look here because it's currently in a little bit of a dip. So if you were going to buy in, now's a decent time to do it. But you can see that there's been a lot of trading activity in Pericoin because of the number of people who are jumping into it. Oh, gosh. Sorry, I apologize for my yawns, guys, to get in on that trading opportunity. So if you're looking for a hot tip for something for liquidity mining, take a look at PERI, Pericoin, on Gate.io for liquidity mining. It'll do you pretty good. Okay, let's see. Comments. The blippy blips are starting, yeah. The savior of Toy Story 2 is now the producer of the new Buzz movie. Yeah, that's going to be kind of funny to see. My son is going to be, my youngest is going to be really excited to see that Buzz movie. When I briefed the general, I had 3 copies on me and had more saved somewhere else. Oh yeah, I bet. Thor have done real investigation into ESG. Have I done any real investigation? Basically what the Canadian government is doing is the banks and insurance companies to force them into compliance. Well, yeah, I mean, they've imposed martial law, Ronald. I mean, it doesn't, you don't have to give it a 3-letter title. I mean, they can do whatever they want to do. They're the government. I think Elon said it best where, basically the government has a monopoly on violence. And might makes right. So there you go. The old serfdom rules are back and in Canada, and that's how it goes. On the way in this morning, as some of you may know, this is roughly the 1 year anniversary of Rush Limbaugh's passing. And there was an interview they were airing with Rush Limbaugh that he gave. And he said that, the core concept to a true conservative is freedom. Because people who believe in freedom don't categorize other people by race or gender or sexual preference. People who believe in freedom believe in ordinary people doing extraordinary things. That can be the norm. That can happen every day if we just give people the freedom to do those things. So if you let people in Canada protest and say, hey, this isn't right, maybe we can start asking some questions about why it's not right. But instead of asking questions, we take the freedom away. Because the freedom is the problem? And see, then it just doesn't make sense. And you got to know that there's lots of people in Canada right now of varying degrees. There was another thing I heard on Fox this morning on the drive in. They were talking about how doctors are privately, they were telling journalists now that privately doctors were talking to each other saying, we're incredibly damaging kids with these masks. And their speech development, the CDC just very quietly reduced the threshold of what constitutes speech delay. So that fewer kids will actually be considered speech delayed because there is a significant impact that masking has had on the development of children. Like it or not, that's the science, right? So now that that's starting to come out, and it's coming out from respected, or I shouldn't say respected, I should say accepted sources like the CDC, doctors are kind of rumbling. Well, privately, we were telling each other that the whole time. We were seeing that in our practices. And the anchor on Fox got all, righteous indignation. Oh my gosh, if you knew about this and you didn't say that these kids were being damaged, well, you're a monster, and it's just like, what did you want the doctor to do? He could have stood up, lit his hair on fire, stood in front of a tank, and you know what would have happened? They'd have just rolled right over him, and everyone would have been just fine with it. So, when you ask yourself, is Canada free? don't have the knee-jerk reaction of saying, well, nah, not as free as us. Are Americans really free? In the Freedom Index, where they rank countries based on freedom, we are nowhere near the top 10. You can't get on an airplane without a driver's license. You can't get a COVID-19 vaccination without showing your photo ID. But you can vote with that one. It's just things that don't make sense, right? I can't leave the country because I don't have a COVID vaccination that is documented to not work. But you can't say that because then you get censored. Or you are making medical claims that disagree with what the CDC is saying, that these vaccines are safe and effective. Safe and effective at what? Exactly. The Queen of England came down with COVID this morning, was announced. She's experiencing mild cold-like symptoms and is on light duty, which is awesome. She's 95 years old and she's on light duty because she has COVID. Alfonso, my Schrock Interactive lead developer, runs the entire division. His father had several strokes. His father lives in Venezuela. Alfonso jumped on a plane to fly home to be with his father. His father, thankfully, is discharged and is doing well. He's trying to get on a plane to come home. Oops, he's got a positive COVID test. He just had COVID. Now he's got like a month or two ago. Now he's got a positive COVID test. He has no symptoms. He doesn't feel sick. He says, don't even have a headache. He goes, I had it. I know what it feels like. I have nothing. But I got this positive test, which means I can't get on an airplane. And it's, are you free? How free are you? You ask these questions. And so Rush Limbaugh sitting there talking about what it means, what freedom means to, he said, conservatism will always be in style because conservatism is freedom. Now you have neoconservatism, which is the freedom to fight war, I guess. You've got all these the freedom to control people through freedom, or through the illusion of freedom. But the funny thing is if people are truly free, then they're not controlled. And if they're not controlled, that means you don't have a big government or a deep state or any of that stuff. They can't coexist together. If one exists, the other doesn't. If there's a deep state, if there is big government, you just can't have freedom. It doesn't work. And if you have true freedom, you can't have a deep state or a big government because it just doesn't work. You can't have both. And the problem is right now that freedom has been boiled down to the privacy choices you make on your iPhone screen. Well, are privacy respected? Is your privacy respected? It's like, no, they can freeze your bank account for sending money to the Freedom Convoy. Is your privacy respected? Why would they even know that you can send your money to the Freedom Convoy? Well, let's just say it didn't get doxxed, that it didn't get leaked on Twitter. Well, the government would be able to figure it out very easily because the government regulates the banks. They could just ask the banks who donated money to the Freedom Convoy, and the banks would have to tell them. Well, now that it's happening through crypto, there's this should we have a crypto czar? Should we stop should we have a way of dealing with this? We have to look into this. The problem is there is no way of dealing with it. And the harder you push, the harder you hit this mole with a hammer, the faster it's going to pop out of another hole. And the government is not good at whack-a-mole. They're not good at dynamic thought. They're not good at, if they were good at this kind of stuff, they would have all the top talent, not Google, not Facebook, not Amazon. The government gets the people that are left over that can't get jobs at those places. That's why we had a story a few weeks ago of MI6 in England is finally saying, we're outsourcing MI6 intelligence, IT, because we can't get the kind of people, we can't get top caliber people to work for the government. It's pretty crazy, right? Okay, let's see. Here we go. They're starting to use ESG scores here in America, too. The First National Bank of Omaha does it. For real? They really do? I have a First National Bank credit card. They haven't raised or lowered my credit limit or anything based on my ESG score. I miss Rush so much. Every day I listen to him and his So Much Needed broadcast. Eileen, I think the same thing. You wake up in the morning when you fought really hard you really wanted a certain candidate to win, and you woke up in the morning and your candidate didn't win, and you turned on Rush because you're like, you were just like, the world is done, this is awful. And Rush was never defeated. He was never beat. He was never down. It was like, well, didn't work out. So here's what we're going to do. There's another day, the sun is going to come up because you can't stop that from happening. So you're going to have to just deal with the sun coming up tomorrow. And let's move on. It was beautiful. It was beautiful, the simplicity of it. And the way that it was so simple that you didn't even think about it, right? So, I remember I was particularly dissuaded after one election, and I turned on Limbaugh because I'm like, I can't believe that people actually voted for this guy. I just cannot believe it. Like, he is such an obvious fraud. And, Rush was there, and he was like, yep. The funny thing about frauds is that you always find out they're frauds in the end, right? So let's just keep on watching. We're going to see it. We're going to find out. But anyway, it was truly refreshing to hear that this morning. It was like just hearing that interview, hearing those few words was like, yes, that's what we need right now. We need this belief in ordinary people can do extraordinary things, because that's what people in Canada are doing right now. These are just truckers. They're just ordinary people. They're not revolutionaries. They're not insurrectionists. They're not waving giant flags and charging hills with rifles. They're not doing anything crazy. They're not Mel Gibson with war paint on, screaming at a bunch of soldiers on horseback. They're just people in mobility scooters. And regular people standing there willing to be arrested, they're being promised all kinds of hardship just because they're choosing to stand up for their freedom in the face of a government that's trying to crush that. And I think the people of Canada are going to eventually see that, even though the news media in Canada is really not reporting it. But you can't get past all the filters. You can get past all the filters now. You can see the truth. And then when you see the truth, all it takes is an exposure here and an exposure there to jade people. And it's really hard to undo that. So I think the damage that Trudeau has right now, politically, he's in trouble. Like, anything he wants to do or accomplish is pretty much done at this point. Nobody wants to support this guy. How long will the emergency measures last? Well, the Biden administration just extended emergency measures for the pandemic in America, but I thought the pandemic was virtually over, but we extended the emergency measures. Some people are saying it's because there's convoys organizing to go to the Capitol for the State of the Union address, and he wants to have emergency powers to be able to deal with that when it happens. So who knows? The sun's going to come up. We'll deal with it when it happens. But it was really refreshing to hear Rush's words and hear that take on freedom that you just don't hear that. You hear Mark Levin and he's always angry and he's Convention of the States, and then you hear Bongino and he's different. Not really refreshing, but he's different, and he brings a different angle to things than you normally would have from his experiences. But where is the optimist? Where is the joyful optimist who gets out of bed in the morning and says, you know what? Today sucks, but we can make tomorrow better. Hell, we can make today better. Where is that guy? He doesn't exist anymore. He died. And we could really use him again. Alrighty. Yeah, somebody needs to see if Rush's talent is back at Heaven's Library and they can check it out again. Yeah, he'd always say he had talent on loan from God, and that was where Rush Limbaugh got his stuff. All right, Y2K is coming back for your web browsers soon. This is a date-related problem, very much like the Y2K problem. Google Chrome and Firefox will soon both release their 100th version, which could mean trouble for website developers and browsers worldwide. Similar problem happened when Firefox released version 10. Websites, some of them are coded to try to detect what browser you're using and what version you're using. And based on that, they will serve you different versions of the pages. So for example, let's say we wanted to get crafty with our Schrock desk page. And we wanted to give you one set of instructions if you were on Firefox and a different set of instructions if you were on Chrome. So if the instructions would say, go to schrockdesk.com, type in the code, click the button, and then there'll be an arrow that says, whoop, down here in the corner, you're going to see this arrow, this box pop up, which you want to click on. And if it's Firefox, it would be, whoop, up here, there's going to be a download. Up here at the top of the screen, you're going to see, we need you to click on. So we might try to detect what browser you're using and what version of browser you're using, because different versions of browsers have their stuff in different places. So we can provide you a specific instruction set to make your connection to the Schrock desk faster. So lots of websites do this. It is super problematic, because what happens if I look and I find it's version 10, but my software is not coded for version 10? My software is only coded for versions 1 through 9, and version 10 isn't even a possibility. So you must mean version 1.0, right? And then I give you the wrong instructions. Well, that's the simple version. The complex version is sometimes websites won't even render if it can't determine what browser you're on. There are some websites, I use the Duck browser, and there are some websites if I go to with the Duck browser that it tells me my browser is outdated and won't work with their website, because Duck is shielding all my privacy. They're preventing them from putting all the tracking stuff and everything on, and their website simply has so laden with privacy invading tracking software that it literally can't function without it. Well, what happens when Google Chrome or Firefox have version 100 come out, but versions have always been 2 numbers for a long time now? So what's the problem here? It's an ancient one. Date format misconfigurations. The most famous example that's still not quite dealt with is the Y2K problem. Then the problem of most programs in the late 90s. If you don't remember Y2K, in the late 90s, most programs had 2-digit years. You were 91, 92, 93, 94. Well, when we went to 00, it thought the year was 1900, which caused all kinds of math errors, right? So we needed to change the year to a 4-digit year, which is why now many times when you go to put your date in somewhere, you have to put in the full year. You have, come on, obviously it's 2022, it's not 1922. Well, what happens when it's 3022 or 3122? So we have 1,000 years before I have to worry about it again. None of us will be around for it, but solve the problem, right? God help us if we're still using some of this code 1,000 years from now. So we've already had a sneak preview of the problem before when this happened, when it went from 1-digit version numbers up to the version 10 that I talked about. Some of the problems escaped their efforts. It's known for decades that using this stuff to have web pages deliver results to you is not a good idea. That's never stopped web developers from misusing them anyway. If your website does this, odds are your site will end up sending an error message instead of web pages when version 100 comes out. So when Secure Updater updates you to version 100 of Chrome and Firefox, which is going to happen soon, when that happens, you may get some pages that don't function properly. And if that happens, know that it's because they're trying to track you. They're trying to do stuff. You could try to use Microsoft Edge in the meantime as a workaround to get to those pages, but they will eventually update their code because they're going to lose a ton of money until they do it. There is a bunch of stuff you can do. If you Google it, you can change your Firefox settings to simulate version 100. You can make it say it's version 100, even though it's not, and see what websites crash if you're really bored on a Friday night. I wasn't bored enough to do it last night, and I know our website doesn't have any stuff like that, so I'm not too concerned about it on our end. Well, we made it a ways there, guys, on that one. So, third time's the charm, apparently. Search for DuckDuckGo. Search for questions. Search for questions. Last call for questions. All right. Scrolling up here to get what I can get. Okay. Trump's freedom service is supposed to start tomorrow. It will be interesting to see how it works and how much the left tries to take it down. Oh, yeah, it's going to be... I'm not even going to try the first Not even going to try. Because even if it works perfectly, you're going to have a flood of people registering to be users. I'm not even going to try. From what I've heard, it is going to function a lot like Twitter. Very much like Twitter. It's basically a Twitter clone. So we'll see what happens. It's going to get hacked. The information is going to get stolen from it. People are going to get doxxed. So like I said, it's one of those things where this is the chilling effect that it has. Nobody doxes Twitter users. And if you did, you'd get banned from Twitter, right? Ooh, no, I've been banned from Twitter. When the whole thing went down with the 2000 election, I had a Twitter account. The only reason I really had it, I started using it back when it came out, like 2008-ish, 2010-ish, just to try. And I never really got it. I never understood why anybody would want to know what I ate for breakfast or here's a picture of my food. I just never really, it never registered with me. I get it now. I understand it now, but it never hooked into me like it does with some people, And when the whole thing happened with the election and Twitter and all that stuff, I just deleted my Twitter account. I literally went through the steps to go there to send a message to say, I don't want to be a part of this. I do not want to be a part of this. Even though I don't use the account for anything and it's not a huge sacrifice, it's not like Twitter's losing a huge contributor here or anything, I don't want to be a part of this. It's one less account that they have. So I don't have a Twitter account. My life, the sun came up. Imagine that. I can still look at what other people write on Twitter. Imagine that. Has my life lost anything as a result? I get some pop-ups once in a while. Like if I look too closely at what people are writing on Twitter, Twitter gets ticked off and asks me to open an account. And then they won't let me look at anything else for a while until I open an account. So that's a bummer. But is it anything? I haven't opened an account, so it's obviously not too much of a hardship. So anyway, that's what I'm hearing. It's going to be a lot like Twitter, which in any case, even if I had an account, I probably wouldn't use it. They're not going to have any streaming functionality, I'm sure, in the beginning because that's expensive to put in. And gosh, could you imagine if I started using their streaming platform? Could you imagine? Oh my gosh. Oh, let's see. Hang in there, ditto heads. The sun does come up. I miss him too. Yeah. Thanks for jumping off the global rant. Any Schrock deals coming up or converting my MSI laptop hard drive to SSD? Ray, as far as converting your laptop to SSD, from hard drive to SSD, the price has come down on that. It takes less labor. It takes 1 hour of labor to clone a hard drive that is functioning properly onto a solid state. It used to take 2. Now it only takes 2 if the solid state's bad. If your mechanical hard drive is bad, then we charge 2 hours. So the price did come down. Unfortunately, one of the things we've really, really resisted raising our prices. All of our costs are up across the board. Everything is up, majorly up, including labor. We've avoided raising our prices to the extent that we can. But one of the things we had to sacrifice to do that was to remove some discounts. So we're not going to be running the solid state special. And honestly, the solid state special had every year we ran it, fewer and fewer people took advantage of it because more and more people had solid states. We are planning on doing the computer leasing deal at the end of the first quarter here. We're going to get that going. Alfonso and I were supposed to have meetings about that last week, about getting the sign up form up on the website for people who are interested, so that you can basically reserve a spot for that program if it's something you're interested in. It got delayed because Alfonso's in Venezuela and his dad's had a stroke. So we'll get to that next week, hopefully, as long as he can get on a plane and get back. Alrighty. Yeah, Aaron, the DuckDuckGo is the search engine, but they also have the Duck browser, which is a privacy-focused browser that I install on my phone. Basically, when I'm doing anything that I have to log into an account for, I use Firefox for that because Firefox remembers my passwords. And honestly, if you're logging into an account, it doesn't really matter what privacy you implement. If you log into an account, everything you do is logged. So I use Firefox for any kind of work-related stuff like that. But if I'm just browsing the internet or reading internet news or doing anything like that, I'm always using the Duck browser instead. The supply chain, okay, as far as how it's impacting the leasing stuff, Ronald was asking, Thor, I assume the supply chain is affecting the computer lease decision. Any updates? No, it doesn't really impact that at all. It still is what it is, but we need to get a measure on demand. It could impact it if we have like 1,000 people that want to sign up. That could be a problem. If we have 10 people that want to sign up, no problem. If we have 100 people that want to sign up, no problem. 1,000 people, that could be a little tougher. The next question, the more important question is, what are we going to do for the ultimate upgrade? You know, the ultimate upgrade is our budget computer sale every year. The ultimate upgrade's coming up before the leasing deal. The ultimate upgrade, for those of you who don't know, is where we basically take your used computer from you and replace it with a brand new computer. So it's the ultimate upgrade in that we're not really upgrading your computer, we're completely replacing it. So we sat down, and normally we would take one of our boundless computers, which right now is an Intel Celeron chip, and we would, excuse me, we would replace a couple components inside, downgrade the Wi-Fi, remove the Bluetooth, trim a couple things out. And then offer it at a discounted price. That's not going to work this year, partially because the processor is not cheap as it stands. There is really no savings in stripping out any of the Wi-Fi Bluetooth functionality, and we're already on a razor's edge on everything else. There's nothing to cut. How do you lower the price on a product when there's nothing to cut? Well, if you're Schrock, you find a way. So, you're going to love this. The ultimate upgrade, I can't give you all the details yet. The ultimate upgrade this year is going to be very, very ultimate. It's not like a holiday special. Don't get excited. It's not going to be like, whoa, my gosh. It is going to be a $599 computer. So it's going to be about $100 more than it was last year. It was $499 last year. So it's $100 more. There's nothing we could do about that. But we had a meeting, and I was like, okay, guys, here's the thing. We know we have to raise the price of the ultimate upgrade. There's literally we may as well not do it if we're not going to raise the price, because we can't lose money selling these computers. We just can't do it and stay in business. But, and people who are super price conscious are probably going to wait for the leasing deal anyway, because it allows them to get a computer at a low monthly payment. So if that's the case, if we know we're not going to have the ultra low budget seekers looking at the ultimate upgrade this year, that means our normal customers are going to be looking at it. What if we did something that was completely the opposite of what anybody expected? So what do you expect right now when you go to the grocery store? What do you expect right now when you go to the gas station? What do you expect right now when you go buy clothes? You expect the prices to be higher, you expect the service to be worse, and you expect to get less for your money. So the packages at the grocery store are smaller, the price is higher, and I can't get anyone to get lumber off the shelf at the Home Depot. Okay? That's what you expect when you go out in the stores now. That's the standard. The hours have been cut. We've reduced hours. Used to be we reduced hours so we could clean. There was no cleaning going on in those stores. They just couldn't get people. So anyway, this year's ultimate upgrade, we're going to give you a computer that absolutely crushes it. That it's not going to be the same as our standard Endeavor build. Like I said, normally we use something that's more geared toward our boundless. This is going to be a potential replacement for the Endeavor as far as specifications go. We're going to go with an Intel chip. We have to. The reason for that is AMD budget chips. There's something wackadoo going on with the supply chain. Ryzen 3 chips, which is an AMD's budget chip, are more expensive than AMD's mid-range chips, the Ryzen 5. That makes no sense. Why would the less capable chip cost more than the more capable chip? And the more capable chip is way more capable. Why would that be the case? Well, also the price of the two chips is high enough that we can't do either one of them in an ultimate upgrade because it would literally be half the cost of the computer for the processor. So we can't. We just can't. So we got creative. Then we said, well, if we're going to do this, if we're going to really do this, we should really do this. So let's not use M.2 drives this year in the ultimate upgrade. Let's use NVMe drives. They're faster, a lot faster. That's what we would use in our standard laptops. Well, let's not use 4 gigs of RAM. Let's go 8, just in case they want to virtualize some apps or something. Let's throw 8 gigs of RAM there. What's our cost difference on that? It costs a little bit more, but it's not insurmountable. And it's something that's going to make a material difference in the experience of the user on the computer. Sure, let's do it. We normally offer upgrades, and they're normally really cheap, like double your memory for $50, double your hard drive for $50, things like that. People don't take the upgrades on the ultimate upgrade. They hardly ever do. We're like, please buy the warranty, because the warranty, you're just dumb if you don't buy the warranty, because literally the warranty will save you money. And if it doesn't, you get your money back. And we still have people that don't buy the warranty during the ultimate upgrade. Because literally the people who shop for the ultimate upgrade are shopping on price tag, price tag, price tag. Well, this year the price tag is going to be higher, and there's nothing we can do about that. But there is something we can do about what you get for the price you pay. And I think you're going to be real happy with it. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty impressive, I think. So anyway, I can't give you all the details now about what's going to be in it, but it's going to be pretty impressive, and that's going to be coming out. Let me think here. Let me make sure I get this right. There was some debate whether we should do a maintenance checkup special in March or we should save that for April. So it's either going to be March or April. I think we decided the maintenance checkup special was going to be March and the ultimate upgrade was going to be April, because we didn't want to try to launch the ultimate upgrade at the same time we were launching the leasing deal, because it would be too confusing to have 2 different computers going on at the same time. So anyway, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. So exciting stuff going on there. So there's your inside baseball take on computer stuff. Alrighty. Interruptions and pause all the time, so bye. Yeah, Janet, I do the best I can. You get what you pay for. Alrighty. Alright, let's see. Scrolling down. Is there something I can do to get away from Google and YouTube? Well, yeah. You could just stop using them. I don't use Google at all anymore. The only thing I'll use Google for is if I have to do a Google map for some reason, or if I want to leave a review, because you have to go to Google to leave a Google review. I don't use Google for anything anymore. At first, it was a little weird when I switched to DuckDuckGo, because it was just I wasn't quite used to the results and the way they were formatted, because I was so used to the way Google looked. Like when you get a new computer and the keyboard's just slightly different, and you're like, it's just a little different. It's not bad, it's just a little different. It's hard to get used to. But now that I'm used to it, I don't miss Google a bit. Not one single bit. Because I trust the results I get from Duck. Not because Duck is some ideological, oh, I'm the best. I trust the results I get from Duck because they're algorithmically honest. They're not, filtering out mass formation psychosis or whatever. If I'm Googling stuff about Canadian protest, see, it's a verb. It's like in the culture. If I'm ducking, if I'm searching for things about Canadian protests, I know I'm not getting filtered, or I believe that I'm not getting filtered. Maybe I am. I believe I'm not. So that's what I did to get away from Google. Gmail is a simple choice. There's a lot of different ways. We went into probably, the trouble is anybody who gives you free email is going to monitor your email. Anybody. That's how they make money. They have to make money somehow. So if you want secure email, one of your best bets is going to be Proton Mail. Proton Mail costs there's a monthly cost, there's an annual cost if you want to pay annually, but it is super secure, privacy-focused email. It's good stuff. That gets you off of Gmail. Now YouTube's a little harder because there's a lot of content on YouTube. So it depends what you're using YouTube for. But we post all of our videos to Rumble as well as YouTube. So that way you have a choice as to where you want to go to get your content. You don't have to go to YouTube to get this, or you don't have to sit here on Facebook and watch it. You can watch it later on Rumble if you want. So, there's how do you get away from it? You just stop using it. It's like, how do I quit smoking? Well, you stop smoking. It's literally, Google's bad for you. It's really bad for you. Android is probably bad for you too. I try to mitigate how bad it is by using a VPN and putting antivirus on my phone and changing my privacy options and doing everything I can. But the big G man still can know whatever it wants to know because it's the big G man. One of the things, every website out there, including SchrockInnovations.com, uses Google Analytics because Google Analytics is if you don't use Google Analytics, it's impossible to determine how you're ranking in search engines. And that is incredibly important to business results, unfortunately, because most people use Google. So we have to be aware of this. So when you come to the Schrock website, Google knows that your computer came to the Schrock website. Google knows that your computer is at your IP address at your house. Google knows that your computer's Ethernet adapter has a MAC address. Google knows, literally, Google tracks you and tracks you and tracks you and tracks you to figure out everything it can figure out to be a better advertising tool. So with that said, there's nothing you can really do about that. If you're going to go on the internet, you're going to come across websites that are using Google Analytics to track the analytics data. The only thing that you can do is shield your information by feeding analytics garbage data, which is what the Duck browser does. It still tells them everything. It says, hey, I'm this browser. It picks a random browser. I'm this browser. I'm this version. And here you go. And then I throw a VPN on top of that. And the VPN helps me with apps and other things like that so that they can't determine my exact location in many cases or see the content that I'm loading through the app even. So it's helpful. It's not perfect, but it's one of those things where and I was talking to Alfonso about this the other day with a different problem we had with some internal data at Schrock. There is no perfect way for us to know what we were trying to determine. For example, if you buy a product online from SchrockInnovations.com, what service center do you belong to as a customer? Do you belong to Omaha? Do you belong to Papillion? Do you belong to Lincoln or Des Moines? What if you live on Harrison Street in Omaha, the dividing line between Sarpy County and Douglas County? Do you belong to Omaha, which is in Douglas County, or Papillion, which is in Sarpy County? You could go to either service center, right? Maybe you do, right? Which service center gets credit for the online sale? Important for accounting purposes, right? Internally. Well, shoot. It's hard to say, And so what we had was here's Lincoln sales, here's Omaha sales, Papillion sales, Des Moines sales, and unknown sales. This is the unknown service center, which the service center consists of customers that have not been assigned to any other service center. So, the challenge is, how do we know what service center these customers want to do business with, especially if they're buying products digitally online from far-flung places like Colorado or Missouri? How do we know? Well, I said, first things first, not everybody in these categories falls into like Colorado, Missouri, outside of our service area. A lot of these people are inside the service area, but there's just confusion about what service center. So let's make life simple. If they're Omaha, they go to Omaha. If it's a Papillion customer, it goes to Papillion. If it's a Des Moines customer, it goes to Des Moines. If it's a Lincoln customer, it goes to Lincoln. Now, what about Roca, small town outside of Lincoln? They're obviously a Lincoln customer. Not worried about Roca, right? Let's make the data more perfect. Let's improve it so that we can reduce the number of customers that are not assigned to a service center, because there's a lot of other things that impact you as a customer if you're not assigned to a service center. And so eventually in the app, we'll allow you to choose your home service center. So you can pick what service center you want to be a part of. If you prefer the Omaha one over the Papillion one, even though you live a block from Papillion, well, you can choose that one, just like you can do that on websites now. All right. When will the sale be? I'm interested. Like I said, the ultimate upgrade sale is probably going to be April. We're going to get the signups going for the leasing deal here very quickly. And then in March, we expect to release the leasing program to those who are interested in it as a kind of a beta test. We're going to do a quick test. We're going to sign up a certain number of people, and then we're going to close the signups. Will leasing include setup and delivery? It will not. No, those are separate labor services that need to be paid for, basically. Yeah, delivery is free though. If we do offer free drop off, we'll bring it to your house and like drop it off. But like if you were ordering from outside of the service area, for example. So first of all, some restrictions when we open up the leasing deal. It's going to be open to existing Schrock customers only. You already have to have a Schrock account and be local. You know, it's just we're not geared up for shipping. We're not geared up for all that stuff yet. We're not Blue Hippo. We don't want to bite off too much too soon. So we're going to go with established Schrock customers who we know and we trust, who know us and trust us, and let's see if, given a base of trust on both sides, this program can work. Because the way this doesn't work for Schrock is computers walk away. That's the way that this could die really quickly. Is, we send computers out on a lease, so you put a $100 deposit down and a $20 or $25 first month payment. So for $125, you walk out the door with a $600 computer, and then we never hear from you again. And sure, we could turn you over to a collection agency, but whatever. That's not the whole point. We're not here to do that. That's not how we make. This is not how we make a profit for our business, and this is not how we have a happy customer, right? So in the initial get-go, we're going to limit this to Schrock customers who already have Schrock accounts in the online system that want to sign up and get on the list. Then once you're on the list, the way that it works is basically you're going to start off with a base model computer. So that would be any of our 6 base model computers. There will be modifications that you can make to the computer. Long story short, you're going to pay a 20% deposit of whatever you build, and then it's 5% of the build cost is your monthly payment over 29 months, I believe. And then that's it. And then we set up a subscription and we go. And we're gonna chill out with that like that for the first 6 months or so. And if it works out good and payments are coming in and we're progressing toward that break-even point on our end, then we might open it up a little bit wider for some more customers, and then more customers, then maybe not Schrock customers outside of that. But it's going to be a gradual thing. This is a huge change to our business model. Like this is like Facebook changing their name to Meta for us. I'd say 40% of our annual sales are new computers, and if everybody went to leasing at one time, that could be really problematic for us. And so we want to make sure that we're doing this. Some people will never want to do this. Some people will want to own the equipment all the ways. That's how they roll. Much respect. We're happy to sell the equipment. But for those people who are maybe a little bit more elderly, that aren't really interested in making a long-term commitment, a 5 or an 8-year commitment to a piece of hardware, maybe they'd rather lease it instead and have a lower monthly payment up front and have a nice piece of hardware that gets the job done. There's a lot of different ways to look at this program and the things it can do. But one of the biggest things that it's going to do for Schrock in the long run is help us have a better relationship with our customers, to help us better identify your needs and meet them. So like the Schrock Desk comes with the leasing program. You're a Schrock Desk subscriber if you lease. So if you're already a Schrock Desk subscriber spending $30 a month for that, you may as well lease the computer. It's going to cost you potentially $5 a month less than you're spending now. Right? It makes a lot of sense. Do I need a wallet on Coinbase? Coinbase is your wallet. So if you have an account at Coinbase, you have a wallet at Coinbase. And any crypto that you buy is held on deposit at Coinbase in your Coinbase wallet. So if you have a Coinbase account, you already have a Coinbase wallet. Ronald, as far as the upgrade sale, we don't have any sign up or anything for that, but we will notify you. There will be calls. One of the biggest things for the Ultimate Upgrade this year is we have a lot of customers that have non-Windows 11 compatible computers. And we want to make sure that those customers are notified that there is an opportunity here to trade those computers in for something that would be Windows 11 compatible at a very affordable price. So that's one of the things we're going to be doing with that sale to push those notifications out. There will be emails. There might be a few phone calls to select people. You'll definitely hear about it on the radio show, though. And it won't be a limited quantity sale. There's no reason at this point that we think it's going to be a limited quantity. The parts we're choosing are in abundance right now. We're starting to order them in now so that we can start building them ahead and have them ready for the sale. All right, speaking of Meta, did you hear about people working at Meta are supposed to call each other MetaMates? I have not heard that. Is that a joke? I actually know someone who works at the Facebook data center here in Omaha. So I will ask him if he's required to call people MetaMates. But that, are you trolling me, Ronald? All right, guys, I got to roll. Thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate you sticking with me through all the technical glitches and everything else. We'll talk to you again next Sunday for another edition. Have a great day, guys.